Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
Welcome to Track Talk, your connection coast to coast and beyond in all the latest news, developments, stake race analysis, and interviews inside the world of thoroughbred horse racing. From California to New York, Florida, and Kentucky, we have you covered. It's post time, live from San Diego. It's Track Talk. And we welcome you on a Saturday morning, just a complete hour of Big Bet that precedes us here on the radio. And this is Track Talk Saturday. What a great day it looks like it will be Saturday, September 14th. We welcome you to the radio program. We're here on the WS Radio Network. That's the WS Radio Network, World Syndicated Radio, as we talk about what's happening in the world of thoroughbred horse racing. Los Al now in their second week. Kentucky Downs just completed. Belmont running today, of course, Gulfstream, Laurel. And then, of course, with news this week that rocked the industry once again. Learning that Justify failed the drug test after he won the Santa Anita Derby. What transpired after that was a comedy of situations, cover-up, not being transparent and fully disclosed, and all of a sudden, another black eye hits thoroughbred horse racing. Inside the studio we go. Tommy D, my phone went bonkers learning this week about Justify, who was the Triple Crown winner of 2 years ago.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Definitely a shocker, when you hear this news, especially being a horse racing fan. You like to think that everything was clean and done the right way. I was a big fan of Justify. I picked him along the whole Triple Crown road. I thought he was going to win from the beginning, Bob Baffert being the best trainer in the world. Just showing, that this horse racing game can be a little skewed, and who knows what's going into these horses. But yeah, Felix, this does concern me for the industry, especially when you talk about a horse that everybody knows. Everybody knows about Justify. There's not too many horses people know about, but Justify is one of those horses in American Pharoah just because it recently won the Triple Crown and it got that respect. So that's why I think it's a big hit on the industry here, because this is actually a horse people know. Where most horses, people have no clue. You say a name and they're going to be like, who's that? Well, Justify, some people actually know. Not saying everybody, but, saying that, Triple Crown winner, second time done in so many years. Bob Baffert, the best trainer, does it again. And then this comes out, and this just, man, it hurts you a little bit.
Well, it does, because this story broke out of the New York Times. Joe Drape wrote it that Justify tested positive after winning the Santa Anita Derby, and they had very limited time to investigate the California Horse Racing Board. But it was a positive. And so what happened is they had closed session, the California Horse Racing Board, and they decided to squash this testing. Bob Baffert asked for a split sample, and he received the split sample, and the split sample came back as a positive as well. So what I'm not feeling this morning is the fact that the California Horse Racing Board squashed this positive. Now, as much as it hurts for a Triple Crown winner to be penalized, and remembering that Justify needed to win the Santa Anita Derby, and I can't even pronounce this drug that they found in him, but it's supposed to be from some contaminated food that perhaps he ingested, and the nanograms are of a major proportion in proportionate measures of
the drug itself. And I have a problem with this. I have a major problem with this. And the problem that I have is that if it's a positive, I don't care what kind of positive it is. Why wasn't the positive disclosed to the public? And why did the California Horse Racing Board refuse to bring this to the public? Whoever whistle blew this story, they whistle blew it to Joe Drape, New York Times. And now another black eye is delivered to thoroughbred horse racing. Tommy D, I know all week long that you and I have been talking about this when the report broke back 3 days ago, as Justify, the 2018 Triple Crown winner, but failed the drug test that could have ended his run. Now, in addition to the California Horse Racing Board fumbling the football, and I hate to say that because I think as they are appointed by the governor of the state of California, their one criteria is to protect the sport and protect the fans who bet in the game itself. This was not done. This smells. Yesterday, Mick Ruiz, who trained Bolt d'Oro, the runner-up, has filed a lawsuit in a federal court, I do believe, wanting this disqualification to be allowed and he getting the purse for the Santa Anita Derby. So you can see like the trickle-down effects that are running rampant throughout the minds of many who support thoroughbred horse racing. And for months, we had to live through a very sunken Santa Anita. And then we got to Del Mar, where Del Mar has just a stellar campaign for 36 days with no major euthanizations or injuries on that race course. And then we get a little fresh air and we get to breathe a little bit easier, and then this bomb is dropped. Tommy D, this is a very serious situation for thoroughbred horse racing and the perception of thoroughbred horse racing, which I might add is not been top shelf in recent months and sort of dwindling down for a number of reasons. But this is not a good look.
Yeah, we definitely had a pick-me-up with Del Mar and Saratoga having a successful season. So we were going in the right direction. We were definitely trending downward. And now after this is going to be struggling for the industry. Bob Baffert's attorney, Craig Robertson, put a letter to NBC saying it's short on facts about this Justify drug test. And it also said that the report doesn't state that there was 300 nanograms. So they were saying that there was very little, which is
positive is a positive,
a billionth
though.
of a gram. I'm just stating what the attorney stating, so everybody knows.
Yes.
Here's
I apologize.
the side there. So. They are fighting this, and the Bob Baffert has an attorney behind him. But this is something that I agree, Felix. I'm not sticking up. I just want to make sure that the facts are out there. That there was something found in the system. Was it minimal? Yeah, it was something very.
It was a positive. He tested positive, and so the trainer's rule has to go into effect. And I would not want to see Justify penalized, but more so than that is that I have the problem is why wasn't that disclosed after the two positives came out? We're talking about a year and a half ago, dude. We're not talking about 3 months. We're not talking about 90 days, 120 days, 6 months. We're talking about a year and a half ago that this test came back positive. A split sample came positive. And then the California Horse Racing Board finds it to be okay to not even disclose this positive and dismiss it. Throw it out like it never happened. And that is not right. This is what is plaguing thoroughbred horse racing. They don't have any consumer trust, as you would call it. And why would you? Because of a situation like this.
Well, yeah, Bob Baffert winning the Triple Crown with American Pharoah before, he's an icon. He's the trainer icon for horse racing. So, yeah, maybe they did sweep it under knowing the damage it would do to the sport. But now, after having all this issues with, the breakdowns at Santa Anita and across the country and all the activists out there really attacking the industry, this is something that is, very concerning because, like I said, this is a horse people know. Bob Baffert's a name know. And, if they did something about it back then, Felix, would Bob Baffert keep getting all these top horses? Because obviously he won 2 Triple Crowns, one with American Pharoah and one with Justify. He's getting the best horses in the world. So, there was no effect on Mr. Baffert. And, I know he's been on the show. Possibly we could get him on to talk about this. It might be kind of tough with all the legal issues going on. But, yeah, I still want to hear all, both sides. I don't want to jump to anything. But, positive's a positive. I get that. That's definitely concerning because as a horse player,
there can be separate rules for
betting
separate
on a horse,
people.
But I think that there was. I think that's the issue that they're trying to clean up because it was Bob Baffert. If it was a smaller trainer that nobody knew, or a small. I'm not going to name any small trainers because I don't want to put them on a smaller level. But you know what I'm saying.
But let me say this. All right, I'm a big conflict of interest guy. And I got to really say that the California Horse Racing Board, there's conflict of interest on that board. And people say, what do you mean by that? Look, when 2 members of the California Horse Racing Board has a horse in training and has a relationship with Bob Baffert, that is a conflict of interest. I'm sorry. I know that they support the game. They bring horses in there, but they are ruling our sport. So are you telling me that maybe if somebody is training for me, I'm sitting on the California Horse Racing Board, and my trainer is under investigation, I'm not going to tip him off or I'm not going to support him, and it's unfair. And the governor of our state of California appoints the California Horse Racing Board members. And what they should do, or what he should do, that's Governor Newsom now, taken over from Governor Jerry Brown. And so what they have to do with the California Horse Racing Board is quite simple. They have to appoint members that have no interest in horse racing, okay? Now, my analogy to this is this, and I love Alex Solis. Alex Solis is a good friend of mine for many years. He was appointed a member of the California Horse Racing Board. And my point is this, that how can you have a jockey who's currently riding also be the governor and governing the sport and making decisions? So they say, well, it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. So let me ask you this. Richard Mandella comes in front of the board and Alex Solis has to make a ruling. Does Alex Solis vote no against Richard Mandella? No, he doesn't. He's going to give him every right in the world. He's assistant trainer to Richard Mandella right now. He's retired. But my point being is that how asinine can you have a jockey who's riding being a member of the board? What happens if Mike Smith comes in front of Alex Solis and for a violation, and Alex Solis has to rule, yay or nay? And you think Alex Solis is going to go against his best friend, Mike Smith? No, he's not. There's conflict of interest. And so the perception of the game itself as being sort of distorted, and it's enough is enough. The bottom line is it needs to be revamped. A positive is a positive. It's unfortunate it happened. And so they say, well, it might have been contamination in food. Okay. Still, it's the trainer's responsibility. Many trainers have lost purses, have been suspended because their horses tested for something in their feed that came up with a high level of a positive. And so when you penalize one, you got to penalize all, Tommy D. Let's be fair.
No, you're right. I agree. It's we got to put a little tighter tighter screws on the backside, I guess you could say, the backside of this game, and that's all the way from the people running the game that you were saying, and I think that's important is everyone has to stay true, and if this sport's going to survive, it needs to be reformed a little bit.
This is a big blow, bro. This is a big blow.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, I understand, definitely, and, I think that with the horse racing, there's going to be even regular fans. They're going to lose fans that watch regularly. I think that, bettors are going to start going towards sports betting because, what's there to say that,
The drug issue has been a major issue of PETA. PETA is talking about drugs. And do I think Baffert drugged Justify? Are you asking? No, I'm asking myself. No, I don't think he did that. It could have been contamination of food. It could have been a number of things. I don't know what the drug is. The drug is a performance-enhancing drug. Some say it's not. Some say you would never inject a drug like that. Do I think Baffert injected this horse? Justify? No, not necessarily. I don't think anything like that. But what I want to say is that the responsibility lies on the trainer. And for whatever reason, the penalties have to be attributed to the trainer. The trainer's responsible. Remember when Sweet Catamine was taken off the back side of Santa Anita before the Santa Anita Derby and left the track, and they had horses working that people said that was Sweet Catamine, and she was in some sort of chamber getting oxygen with Julio Canani and taken off the track late at night. Situations like this, and plus then being tested in I believe a positive. But anyway, it does not look good. It does not look good for thoroughbred horse racing. Let's go up to Santa Anita, and let's join in with the Zapper. Zapper, Tommy D, and myself, good morning to you. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, good morning, Felix and Tommy D. And, Saturday morning in the fall, we got college football, we got horse racing, and should be a beautiful day. Los Alamitos is going in Southern California. Churchill is running their short meet in September. They've got a couple nice 2-year-old stakes today. Belmont's going strong, and all that college football. Go Hoosiers, Felix. They're playing the Buckeyes at home. Big game for the Hoosiers to show the world that they belong.
That's yesterday's news. We've been talking about that game. Tommy D likes Indiana plus the points, and so do I. We're all with you, brother. We're staying united. We're saying the Hoosiers are going to cover that big 17-point spread. But then Tommy D said, he came over during the break and whispered in my ear and said, hey, Indiana's 0-23 against Ohio State since the 90s. And I said, oh, my God, don't tell Zapper that. Hey, Zapper, let's get right to the point. Tommy D and I are talking about it. The big news this week, Justify testing positive after his win in the Santa Anita Derby. I know it's ugly. We talked about it. But a positive is a positive. That's my point in this broadcast, and that there can't be separate roles for separate people. What's your take in regard?
Well, I'm telling by your tone that a positive is a positive. But what is the positive? And it's more of a procedural thing. From what I've been reading and heard, there were other positives for the same substance at about the same time that nobody ever heard about. So just going forward, we saw a horse win the Triple Crown. He's now in the breeding shed making lots of money for his investors, and he's being singled out because by the mainstream media, who not only is talking about a positive, but they're talking about 30 deaths at Santa Anita this winter and the Bob Baffert deaths in his barn X amount of years ago. So it's the same old thing to me. I know scopolamine is not a performance enhancer, and I know it can be in tainted straw, et cetera, with the Jimson weed. And I think when Mandela and McAnally had their issue over a decade ago, and they spent a lot of money with lawyers, racing made a mistake. They still classify this as a class 4 drug, Felix. It's the lowest class drug because it's not a performance enhancer. It should have been changed, the laws and the rules, and they weren't. So now there's a black eye because we discovered something, after the fact. But the truth is, this was tainted. This was more contamination. It wasn't performance enhancer. It's just a shame that racing doesn't have a governing body and doesn't make rules across the board so we could all understand that racing does try to keep above board. And now it looks like racing's going to have to defend itself over something new.
Yeah, and it comes a year and a half later. Let me ask you this. A positive is a positive, though. He tested positive for a prohibitive drug, which would classify a disqualification. And then a split sample was taken, and Baffert was told, like 3 weeks later after the Santa Anita Derby, that his horse tested positive. And so he requested a split sample, and that came back positive. And then the California Horse Racing Board felt it all themselves, said, why should we even discuss this now? He's on the Triple Crown trail. We don't want to take anything away from our man, Bob Baffert. And they knew that there was a positive, and he should have been disqualified from that purse. And that's a rule. And as much as it hurts, it's a rule. But if we make different rules for different people, different trainers, then what are we? Are we just going down with the boat? And Zapper, how do you feel about that?
Well, Class 4 drugs are primarily therapeutic medications, Felix. Rules are rules, but I'll say it again. After the big black guy with Mandela, who we all know is about as above board as any trainer you'll ever talk to, and Rob McAnally had their name cleared. They went to court. They proved it. This is just unfortunate because, look at the angle that the New York Times took. Read their article. I know what you're saying right now, but the fact that we don't have a governing body, this drug should not be listed as one of those type of drugs.
All right. Stop right there. I understand that, and I love you, bro. I love you. But the drug was a violation. I don't care if it's a Class 5, a Class 6, or a Class 7. If you test positive for this drug, it is a violation. Now, okay, he might have had that in the system by eating some hay or straw or food or whatever the case might be. I understand that. It could have been a total accident. He could have been a victim of circumstances, my poor Justify. But let me ask you this. And this is what I'm getting to, and this is what bothers me more than that, is that how could the California Horse Racing Board know this and not disclose it to the people that are a part of this game? How do they take this, a double finding of a positive, sweep it underneath the rug, and say, okay, well, we ruled in closed session that there's no violation. We'll just move on because, it's 300 nanograms and, it's Bob Baffert. And by the way, and I've been fighting for this, and I might ruffle some feathers, but you know what? There's conflict of interest on that California Horse Racing Board, and if they take me down, they can take me down, but I'm going to speak my mind because my mind is my heart, and the heart is the truth, and the truth is this. There's conflict of interest on that California Horse Racing Board. There are members, and if you want me to mention them, because I know some people are jagging me, and you know what? They're playing with me. And I'm going to tell you that I won't mention their names, but if you want to play hardball, we'll play hardball because what I talk is the truth. And the truth is this. There are members on this California Horse Racing Board that have horses with Bob Baffert. And so there is a conflict of interest there. Okay? Are you telling me that if my trainer is Bob Baffert, and I get some word or I have to roll on one way or another about this or that, that I'm not going to give my trainer Bob Baffert the benefit of the doubt? Well, maybe some perceive this. Maybe some perceive that there's Baffert's rules and rules for everybody else, because basically that's exactly how it seems. I'm not saying it is, but that's the perception, that there are different rules. You know the trainer responsibility rule, don't you, Zapper?
Yeah, I'm very aware of the trainer responsibility rule.
What is the trainer responsibility rule?
Well, that puts the responsibility that anything and everything that would happen under a trainer's name is their responsibility. They're the ones who are going to basically be called out on it. And it's very difficult if you're Steve Asmussen and you've got 6 different barns running at the same time throughout the country to be that on top of everything. So you do hire good people and you make sure the system works for you. It's no different than big business. So there is a trainer responsibility rule. But, you're really not pursuing what this is. This drug is not a performance enhancement drug, and there were other positives, according to the others. CHRB said we had a bunch of other barns. We just figured it's a contamination issue, not worth pursuing because we've already been through this. But the fact that they didn't do anything back when the McAnally case with Mandela happened.
What case are you talking about, dude? What case are you talking about, McAnally, Mandela? People who are listening to this, they might say, what the heck is he talking about? What are you talking about?
They were both accused of having the same situation. Their horses tested positive. This is about 10, 15 years ago. 2 prominent Hall of Fame trainers. And they had to go through the whole legal process of proving their innocence by finding the contaminated product and proving it was contaminated. You can only do so much with trainer responsibility.
It's a rule, babe. It's a rule.
No, I don't buy that for a second. It's a rule. You're dealing with a contamination issue where people, you see these trucks with straw coming into
Let me ask
track.
you this, dude. Let me ask you this, okay? I need to ask you this. Is this a violation according to the rule? Was this a positive or rule? Would this merit disqualification?
No, it's possible in a class action. I've researched this. The level 4 drug can be. It's usually a fine. It can be a disqualification. But the fact is, how you can't. Let's face reality. You're a horse player. You'll never be affected by it because by the time they'd ever disqualify a horse under these, they'd have to get 2 tests, and it would take weeks, if not months. So the bottom line, who does it really affect, Felix? It doesn't affect us when we bet our $2. The truth is the company that sends this product out needs to have it tested before they send it out.
Tommy D, jump in. Good point. Tommy D, jump in here.
Yeah, no, I think it's just tough any way around. I think, with the positive, I'm kind of between both of you. I'd like to learn a little bit more about everything going on. But, Zap has a good point, and you have a good point, a positive. But also, there's also these companies that are distributing, food product, hay or whatnot. And, necessarily it's not on the trainers. I mean, if they're getting the product from something and it's contaminated, then it shows up positive. I could see Zap's point there. But they also have to regulate that. As trainers, as soon as you see that, you need to get on top of it and be aware of it. So I don't know what happened, back then. And, of course, PETA also the one breaking the news, a lot, trying to break the story open a little bit more. So, I'm kind of between both of you guys, to be honest with you. I see both sides, and I'm kind of right between you. So you guys could persuade me.
PETA has nothing to do with this. They're clowns, and the people who are against horse racing are using PETA for quotes because don't think this is not a PETA thing. This is the New York Times finding some information out, and not only just discussing this information, but they bring up the bad year Santa Anita had. How is that part of the story? And then they bring up Bafford's deaths he had in his barn X amount of years ago. How is that part of the story? This is an agenda. This isn't a story. And PETA has zero to do with it. They are clowns, period. Quote me on that.
So let me ask you this. So wasn't it, the responsibility of the California Horse Racing Board to disclose that a positive had been confirmed, Zapper?
I think the California Horse Racing Board definitely made a tactical error. If this was good, it should have just been duly noted. We had several positive tests for scopolamine, a class 4 drug. Explain what it was. We've already been through the process. We feel that there was no way that anybody used this drug for a performance enhancement. And the fact that we found it in several barns means that there was a contamination situation, and then they should have followed it up and found out the contamination situation and just made it public record. Anytime you have a cover-up, Felix, it's not good for
Yes,
marketing.
exactly my point. So let me ask you this. And so the Santa Anita Derby runs Justify wins, and then they discover that he tested positive for this Class 4 drug. So they could have possibly disqualified him from the purse. Is that correct?
Well, they
is that correct? No, I just want to know. Is that correct?
No. You can't make me say yes or no. You gave me the opportunity to answer like it's a court of law. I get to respond the way I choose to, and I appreciate
that, Counsel.
But the fact is, by the time they got around to telling Mr. Baffert he had a positive and he asked for the split, it was already too late to stop him. And let's be real, Felix. The Churchill Downs came right out immediately and said all our pre-test and post-test, including Justify, were clean. Everybody was clean. This is not our problem. This is something the CHRB had to deal with when they had to deal with it. But the facts are that Justify went through those 3 races clean, pre-race,
I hear you. I give you that, but I'm not talking about the 3 races. I'm talking about this one race. And let me ask you this. Is there a conflict of interest with the California Horse Racing Board of members having horses with Baffert? Don't you think there's some special preferential treatment?
One day you and I did a show live from Del Mar, and it was during the Pacific Classic Day. The day before, Garrett Gomez rode a beautiful race for Windstar Farm. They give him, and he won with Colonel John the Travers. He flies cross country on their plane only to get on a horse that beats them. I mean, there's a conflict of interest and a lot of to do with horse racing. You could say that Bob Baffert trains for somebody who's on the board, but he doesn't train for we're not talking about the Justify people. And this horse is now going to get tainted over this situation. Please. He overcame not racing at 2. He had a positive on a drug that has no performance enhancement capabilities. And if you read the article, you want to talk about irresponsible journalism, they actually found a vet that said it has a bronchodilating effect. And I've researched it, and there is zero evidence of that, but yet they found the one vet who would at least say that for their slanted article. It's embarrassing. That's not journalism.
Well, Joe Drape has really been, a thorn in the side for horse racing. I mean, he's been on the Santa Anita story like peanut butter and jelly. And tighter than 2 coats of paint. That's how much pressure he's putting on California racing. Joe Drape, the writer for the New York Times, I responded to him. But, the article is what I have a problem with is that I don't think this is the first time that the California Horse Racing Board hasn't been transparent. So what I ask you, Zapper, would be this. Who broke the story? Who was the whistleblower?
I don't know who the whistleblower is. I know who broke the story. The New York Times, Joe Drape.
Right, exactly. But who was the whistleblower?
Has that been reported? Who leaked this out?
No, I would like to know.
Well, obviously somebody who has an agenda. This agenda is really deep. And if you don't keep saying the rehash of horse racing's problems in any story, you realize what they're doing.
Hey, I still haven't gotten over what they did to Jerry Hollendorfer, and that was criminal. And, they could just go ahead and take this man down. I had a great conversation with Jerry Hollendorfer before Del Mar, and I had a conversation with him this week. And this is a man that has been broken by how they have treated this Hall of Fame trainer. 33,000 starts. His record is pretty good. And for him not to be able to do what he does best, his livelihood affected by that with no due process is criminal. By the way, congratulations to Craig Fravel. He's been appointed the CEO, Director of Operations, Racing Operations for Stronach, former or current CEO and top man at the Breeders' Cup, leaving the Breeders' Cup, taking over the Stronach Group. Tommy D, you've been busy putting down some notes in regard. Let's talk a little bit about racing today. Did you zero in, or are you all football acclimated?
I've been looking at a lot of football, but I did take a look at Woodbine today. There is some Woodbine action. The Woodbine Mile is today. They also have the Canadian up there and the Northern Dancers. So Woodbine is where the action is in my eyes. So I did take a look there in the Woodbine Mile.
Who do you like?
Get right to it. When I think of Woodbine, I think of Mark Cassie, a good friend of our show, and he's got number 5, Got Stormy here. This horse won 11 out of 17 at the distance. His morning line 8-5. But this horse went into Saratoga and won both races nicely. Won the four-star Dave Grade 1, and then the race before that, too. So 5 Got Stormy is the play here for me.
Price? Odds?
It's only 8-5, but I'm going to be trying to do an exacta, and I'm going to put 2 prices behind it. I'm going to try to leave Raging Bull out, which Raging Bull's coming back. This horse was second behind Got Stormy last time, so you might want to throw it on the ticket. But I like 7-4-3 behind. The 4 and the 3. The 3's at 15-1.
Wow.
This horse won 5 out of 7 at Woodbine, so likes the track. And then the 4 horse is 6-1. This horse won at Woodbine in the King Edward Grade 2. So
the 7 has got Stormy.
No, the 5 has Got Stormy.
Okay, so we're going to play
That's
5
the
with the
choice.
3-7.
3-7-4, exactly.
3-7-5 with the 3-7-4.
And I think with Raging Bull in there, I don't think Got Stormy will go off too big as a favorite. It should go off as the favorite, though. Mark Cassie training.
All right. Just when I was starting to feel good about Larry Zapp, really feeling good, I looked at the scoreboard last night and I saw the Dodgers beat the New York Mets. Because you know what? Zapper's a Met fan, and I've been pulling for the Mets to get in there. They're fighting hard. Zapper, Dodgers 9, Mets 2, back in New York, City Bank, whatever they call it, Shea Stadium, usually known as where the Mets play. But Zapper, did you look at any racing action today, and you got maybe one for the fans out there across the country?
Well, I'm going to look at the same race that we just discussed with Tommy D, and that is the Woodbine Mile. Always a nice one. It's a one-turn race. Very few tracks you can have a one-turn turf mile. Belmont would come to mind. This is going to go off as race number 9, and I actually think there's a horse on the improve in this race, and it's a 5-year-old son of Hartspun, the 2-horse, Luculin, for Kieran McLaughlin. This is a Godolphin-bred homebred who's won 2 in a row. Saratoga won a restricted stake last time, and usually you go, well, restricted stake to a Group 1 at Woodbine. That's a big jump in class, and I do agree it is. But I see this horse learning and improving as he matures. As a 5, he's only run 11 times. They tried him in a couple stakes earlier in the year, and Synchrony, who's in this race, beat him pretty handily, and Synchrony's 6-1 in the line. I'm going to go with this guy at 8-1 because I just see a horse who now can lay a little closer to the pace, and he can kick it. And his time at Saratoga was very good, 139-3, and Got Stormy. I know she ran a 132 mile. I'm just wondering if they gave her a little freshening, but can she react off of 2 monster races that short a distance apart? I know a lot of sheep players will see it as a potential bounce, and I'm gonna hope it is because I'm looking for value. So I'll go with number 2 here, Luculin, in the Woodbine Mile, Felix, and it is a nice card at Woodbine today.
All right. Your Hoosiers are on the board, Zapper. They trail Ohio State 7-3 with 30 minutes and 45 seconds remaining. Tommy D, we got the bottom of the 9th here. Temple 7, Maryland 2. That's 2. That's in the first quarter play. 2nd and 11, Maryland with the football right now. Or actually, Temple got the football, and now the game's slated to go a little bit later on tonight. UCLA, da-da, da-da. Oh, no, that's the big boys over there. No, that is UCLA's fight song, by the way. What about the end of Kentucky Downs? Michael Rona, just a splendid play-by-play race call announcer. We're going to try to get him on the show. But, is that Ocean's 11 watching Kentucky Downs, and maybe some other people that get out there, might not have the great TV that Zapper has at home in front of his couch. But, I can't find out. I couldn't find out, or see any of the colored saddlecloths. They've got a really upgrade their television coverage. They had big races, $500,000, $750,000, $1 million, and it's just a special meet. Did you catch any of the Kentucky Down action, Tommy D?
I didn't catch much. I've been a little busy with real estate, so I've been pumping out some real estate. We got a couple listings coming up, doing some transactions. So Kentucky Downs, I did, when I got the time, I peek on it, business. But Kentucky Downs, big-time prices. If you're an owner, you want to send your horses there if you have a shop.
We're winding down to the Breeders' Cup. The Breeders' Cup is coming on real strong, and any races back in New York, Zapper, that you'll keep your eye open? The Eye joining us, Larry Zapper, going back to Belmont Park today. Are there any horses back there that, today that are running at Belmont Park that might be trying to shake into the Breeders' Cup?
Well, they have a bit of a restricted stake there today called the Pebbles. It's a 1 mile turf race for 3-year-old fillies. Usually the 3-year-old fillies are not attempting to get to the Breeders' Cup. They usually try to get to the Queen Elizabeth, which is a Group 1, Grade 1 race at Keeneland. So I would think that maybe the winner of a race like this would point to that race. And Chad Brown, surprise, he's got the 9-5 and the 3-1 2 favorites, and I kind of prefer the 3-1 second choice, Seek and Destroy, over with Castellano over the favorite, which is Blowout, the 9-5 English bred horse. I'm going to go with the American Seek and Destroy for E5 Racing Thoroughbreds, but it looks like Chad's going to dominate. But if you want to talk about something that might matter today, Felix, I don't know if Tommy D's got a chance to look at it yet, but Churchill Downs, they're having this fall meet they started a couple years ago, and they got a Derby and an Oaks Prep, or a Breeders' Cup Juvenile filly and a Breeders' Cup Juvenile Prep run there today, and there's some actually nice prospects in both of these races. And Tommy, hopefully you can catch up and get up to speed, but I'm going to talk about the Colt race real quick because a lot of people are talking about the Iroquois today because number 8, Dennis's Moment, son of Tiz Now, has had a very interesting career. First time out, he was a hype horse at Churchill in June, dropped the rider, Alvarado, early, clipped heels and lost his jockey, and then he came back with Miguel Mena and broke his maiden by 19 lengths at Ellis Park with a 97 buyer, and I understand he ran really fast on the Ragozin sheets. Well, the Aldor family owns him. Dale Romans trains him. He gets Jose Ortiz today, and he's 9-5 on the line, and there's a lot of people thinking this guy's the real deal.
Is this still all the 2-year-old races at Churchill today?
No, they don't. They do that card in the fall. They'll do it like after they go to Keeneland. They'll have this short meet, then they'll go to Keeneland for 3.5 weeks. Then when they have the opening day at Churchill in the fall, they'll do it, and then they'll do it later in the meet as well. So this not for this meet, but they are running these 2 stake races: the Iroquois for the boys and the Pocahontas for the girls, both at 1 16 miles today.
You want to go to breakfast with us, Zapper?
I'd love to, but I'm in Arcadia right now.
All right, well, I don't think there's a Broken Yoke up there, but a Broken Yoke Cafe, downtown Mission Valley, East Lake, Point Loma, Bonita, San Diego State, Del Mar, Merritt Mesa, La Casa, San Marcos, and Pacific Beach, 15 San Diego locations to start your day for breakfast or lunch, mimosas, Eggs Benedict, all sounding and hitting the bell on this Saturday morning, getting ready for big weekend of college football, as well as week number 2 in the NFL. And Rough and Ready Moving and Storage up there in Temecula, my man Johnny Ruff, 951-834-3539. He'll get it done from the street to across the country. If your move is too tough, you call Ruff, local or cross country. That's John Ruff. Rough and Ready Moving and Storage, my man up there. And I'll tell you what, this guy gets it done without any doubt about that. Zapper at the Keeneland sale, a purchase of $8 million for a filly, a yearling, 8.2. Nothing like the Green Monkey, because the Green Monkey was purchased for like $16 million, I do believe, in a record number there. But 8.2, Mary Pope, is that her name?
Her name is Mandy Pope.
Mandy Pope. Who is she?
She's a woman who likes to collect really expensive broodmares, and this one she's buying very young because it's a yearling. But when you breed the mother of Into Mischief and Beholder, and Mendelssohn, who's a new exciting stallion people might be talking about. He won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf at Del Mar a couple years ago. And when you breed this mare that's produced those horses to a Triple Crown winner that doesn't have any controversy surrounding him right now, American Pharaoh, and the horse comes out balanced and correct, a bidding war will ensue. And Mandy Pope she's bought quite a few expensive broodmares like Harvard de Gras and a few like Groupie Doll and a few like that. She's kind of a collector of the extreme, of the high level. It's like somebody with a great art collection. And she won the bidding war at $8.2 million. She's a woman who's notoriously likes a bunch of photographers right above her when she signs the ticket. And, a lot of big players in the game were going after this horse. And it was quite a sight to see. An 8.2 highest price yearling in about a decade at Keeneland. And it's pretty exciting. So we hope the best for her. She has her own farm in Kentucky, Whisper Hill Farm. And I think her money is all made off those 99-cent stores, Felix. Family's been loaded for generations, and she just likes spending a lot of money and being notoriously having her photo taken while she's doing it.
Yeah, well, she can take her photo with me for 8.2. There's no problem with that. I'll give her 2 photos for that. And she likes to take pictures. We'll take a lot of pictures. So good. How many books are there at Keeneland, the yearling sale? I know that the first book was completed, but Zapper, I'm familiar with how the sales go, and you are because you purchase a lot of horses at these sales. How many books are there?
Well, they're called sessions, and I think there's going to be 12 sessions. The first book has 3 sessions, and then it usually goes to either book 5 or book 6, depending on the year. But, we're dealing with roughly about 4,000 yearlings, the largest sale of its kind in the world. The world market does show up. It's not the only sale, but it's a big sale. And
Sessions.
Like today, they skipped after the first 3 sessions of book 1. We skipped one day for more looking than buying, and then they resumed yesterday. And today is session 5, Felix.
Sessions, Tommy D. How many sessions are you going to be involved with? Another guy goes, a guy was telling me, funny because I'm making a joke about this, but a guy says, I've had 5 good sessions. And I said, you had 5 good sessions? 5 good sessions of what? Oh, I've been playing poker, and my last 5 sessions have been good. Have you had 5 good sessions lately in poker, Tommy D?
You know what? I can't remember the last time I played poker, but I probably the last 5 times I played, they probably were good sessions. I like to play poker, and that's one of my vices. As I'm a gambler, as you know, but I love to play poker, but you got to have time. I've been very busy with real estate. And my son at home, so you got to have 5-6 hours to be able to sit at a table.
Yeah, you
and if you're pushing time for an hour or 2 and you try to sit down, you just got to get lucky.
No, you'll lose. Yeah. You'll lose 9 out of 10 times because in the back of your mind, you know that you have some place to go. And a good friend, Cowboy Wolford, once told me, when you start playing poker, you got to put your phone away. You got to go ahead and lock in and don't worry about anything but what's going on. You got to monitor all the players. Zapper might be a good poker player.
But let's get up. Let's go play a tournament at Oceans. I could probably set that up for a Sunday or something. Let's get up there.
Matter of fact, they had a big one up there, a $135,000 winner. Zapper, do you know how to play Texas Hold'em?
Yeah, I do, Felix. I was invited to a couple of games over the summer. Matt Nakatani, the agent for Mario Gutierrez. I'm surprised I didn't inform you that they were trying to hand over some money to somebody who knew what they were doing. But I heard Pete Erden took them for quite a few zeros over the summer. So maybe in the fall we'll resume that.
Yeah, well, I did see Peter Yerton at a poker house, And, he's very, 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 very competent, very, very tight player, and just a close to the vest type of guy. Georgia just running all over Arkansas State here. So what's on the agenda for you today, Tommy D?
I got some real estate going on, showing some properties. Going to be watching lots of college football. Going to get some action in there. I might be up towards Oceanside, so maybe I'll stop by Ocean's 11, watch some horse racing. But a lot of real estate going on. If you need any help with real estate, me and my wife, we do real estate as a team. She does the residential, and I do the commercial, so we can help you either way. And I focus, and my niche is restaurants, Felix. I've been working in restaurants for 20-plus years, so I just got into the sales of restaurants. So if you're interested in either purchasing a restaurant or selling and getting out of the business, I can help you with that. And then if you're looking in this beautiful city of San Diego and you want to move here, and if you don't live here, you want to move here. So give us a call. We'll help you out. We'll get
Why don't
that
you release that phone
number out to you. You could call me on my personal line. I'll give you my personal phone, 315-794.
Too fast, brother.
8551.
I'm calling you. Hold on.
315-794-8551. That's my personal phone. You could text me, too. Either way, phone call or text. You got a question about the San Diego market, give me a call. We'll talk.
Yeah, you and Erica doing a bang-up job. Luca Bear, 315 for Tommy D. If you're coming in here, you want some help. Now, we had a couple horse players that inquired about property, and we connected with you, or I sent them to you. And, they want to know about the market. One's from Louisville, Kentucky. The other is from the desert over there in Palm Springs. And they came in here and said, hey, we need somebody who understands the real estate market. And that was you, Tommy D. 315-794-8551. All right, we got about 2 minutes left. You got a best bet anywhere across the country? Anything on the sports docket today? Could it be the Mets? Could it be UCLA? Could it be Oklahoma? Could it be Alabama? Could it be Air Force? Could it be North Carolina State? Where is it going? What are we doing, Zapper? Where's your best bet?
I'm following my Hoosiers right now, and they are playing Ohio State tough, and you already released them as a 17-point dog. Unfortunately, they almost scored a touchdown at 7-3. But I'm going to go Churchill Downs. Pocahontas is race 9. I talked about the Iroquois, but the Pocahontas as a filly I've been following since she was a yearling, Felix. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford her then. She brought $205,000, but she's been very impressive in 2 turf starts. Tries dirt today. Race 9 at Churchill, number 6, Morning Gold, 3-1 on the line. Kenny McPeak, I think we'll get the 3-1, and she looks very solid as today's best on the docket around the country today.
You planning on coming down here in the next couple of weeks, Zapper?
I'm hoping to be there for a good part of the fall meet there. I kind of enjoy the Bing Crosby meet down there.
All right. Tommy D, where's your best bet, my man?
I'm looking at baseball, believe it or not. I've been following some baseball with these series is matching up. Teams need
Who you following,
to
baby?
win. Teams need to win.
That's right. Wild card. I've been looking at the wild card myself.
So I actually am going with Tampa Bay tonight against the Angels. The Angels looking pretty beat up, but Tampa Bay winning last night, and their bats are moving. Tampa Bay needs to win to stay above the wild card. Also, the Cubs in the earlier game at home against Pittsburgh. Cubs also same position. So I'm playing for teams that need to win.
Pittsburgh quit. You're absolutely right about that. Hey, Lisa down there in Pacific Beach with Broken Yoke, thanks for corresponding with us and reminding you 15 locations of the Broken Yoke Cafe downtown, Mission Valley, East Lake, Point Loma, Bonita, San Diego State, where you can watch college and professional football at the Broken Yoke. Del Mar, Mira Mesa, La Costa, San Marcos, they are legendary. From the egg of their first Pacific Beach location since 1979, start your day out there. I want to thank our friends over there at Donovan's and Spica and Tony Akal and Rough and Ready Moving and Storage, and Wade Taylor, and Tommy D, and Matty B, and Bobby Hutton, and Larry Zapp, and all of you out there who are listening to our radio program. We appreciate it. Big Bet is on Saturday and Sunday from 8 to 9, followed by Track Talk 9 to 10. Hey, if you want a podcast and you want to do something in the media world, We're here for you. WS Radio, providing facilities for your next radio show or your podcast. Until next time we talk, and that's tomorrow morning, adios. Have yourself a great day.
Kinja Dixon was crowned the #1 sales executive through hard work, deep thinking, and the revelation of Universal Talk Laws. He now wants to share these lessons with you. Universal Talk Laws are what you need to know and use in business and at home to have successful and effective conversations. Kinja Dixon shares his wisdom, action plans, and wealth. Each book comes with a chance to win $10,000. Find Universal Talk Laws at KinjaDixon.com.
I've heard this is like one of the best pizza spots in town.
Yes, it is.
I'll do a slice of pepperoni, slice of vegetarian.
You got it.
And I will pay for all of that in 3 days.
In 3 days? What's that mean?
Well, wait, you accept credit cards. That money's not going to hit your account for 3 days anyway.
I need my money quicker.
At Chase, we hear you. With Express Funding, card payments are in your Chase account the next business day. Go to chase.com/expressfunding. Chase for business, so you can.
Compensated participation. All businesses are subject to credit approval. Not all clients are eligible for next business day funding, and additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Too much to do? Not enough time to get it done? Call on the experts at Another 8 Hours for your business support needs. By partnering with Another 8 Hours, we allow you to focus on the more important matters, like being in front of your clients, doing what you do best, rather than being stuck at a desk poring over paperwork, rummaging through emails, returning phone calls, and struggling to get everything done by yourself. Meanwhile, your family and social life are going down the drain. Go to another8hours.com or call 8 more hours. That's 866-734-6877.
Life is full of misadventures, from car crashes to home fires to getting choked out on the mat. Yes, I said getting choked out because I'm Carlos Kramer, jiu-jitsu competitor, MMA and media personality, and mild-mannered insurance agent. You can follow my adventures on Kick-Ass Radio, and I can protect you from life's misadventures at Kramer Insurance. Home, auto, life, business, and workers' comp. We're at KramerINS.com, and I want you to join my world.